Hello YouTube, I am Vince White. I am an employment attorney, and on this channel we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. You will perhaps notice that I am extra shiny today. It's because I'm wearing sunscreen. It's a really good sunscreen. I love it because I'll be in the sun later, and I am so desperately pink that I am terrified to turn beet red. And my Caucasian pinkness is particularly awkward because I have an awkward question to answer today. And as a white heterosexual male, it's one that I don't really want to be holding forth on. But I will give what information I can pass along from those who have taught me, and that might be a start to answer this question. So we have YouTube user Ann Ford who asked us, "Hey Vince, can you address how do you advise women to do their hair and makeup, if any, for court in a sexual harassment case? I can't find a better way to say this, but do you need to appear believably sexually harassable to a jury?" Yikes. I know how that sounds. Yeah, there's no other way to say it. I know what you're saying, and I know what you're saying bears discussing and is important and is something we have to think about. So I appreciate your question, even though I cringe to answer it. And I want to stress, I'm not the best person to answer this question. You can tell because I can't even curate my own look, right? And as a result, I certainly wouldn't be qualified to curate a woman's look. We can all agree. We can all agree on that. So what I tend to do is hire public relations specialists and occasionally stylists who know the ins and the outs and the totality of the image and appearance game. And I'm going to recount 1/100th of what they might share or advise my clients, or what they might do for my clients, because this is not a field in which I have a depth of knowledge. So this video has 1/100th of actual value to you, potentially. I'm going to start with the story, though. So early in my career, I represented a very, very talented woman who was very successful. And it was actually not a sexual harassment case. It was a workplace discrimination and retaliation case. But she, as successful people do, had fat stacks on deck. She just had so much money, like dollars to the rafters, nothing to spend it on, just like wild. And so, young attorney that I was, I didn't think about her appearance or her image for day one of trial. And she rolled in wearing $25,000 worth of clothes. I kid you not. And I didn't know that. Someone had to clue me in. And she was wearing a solid 15 grand in jewelry. The only reason I knew that was I used to work in a jewelry store. I worked at a Rolex Breitling dealership in a small rural county. We were the only place you could buy a Rolex in the whole county, right? Same thing with Breitling. There was, we were the only shop in town. So I had a passing knowledge of jewelry, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, that looks like somebody spent some money on the bright and shiny. I didn't know bling was still a thing, but appears we're doing that. And I kind of I said, well, that's a lot of jewelry. And someone who was more versed in sartorial knowledge and in the outfit said to me, "Yeah, you think the jewelry's worth a lot? You should check out the price tags and the labels on the outfit, shoes." And I was like, "Really? What do you mean?" It's a $25,000 outfit. Oh. And like the idiot I was, I had to be like, "Do you think the jury will know that it's a $25,000 outfit?" And this individual said to me, "Yeah, the jury that you picked to be specifically sympathetic to a successful professional woman, yeah, I think they might, Vince." I was like, oh, that's not great. We're asking for money, right? And the funny thing about this, and I always joke about this, I always make people mad. In the U.S., if you're truly wealthy, there's a really good chance you wear like LL Bean or some comparable brand. Like truly wealthy people in the U.S. tend not to wear Gucci or Louis Vuitton. You know, it's not really like if you're new money or you're desperately poor trying to appear to have money, you might value those brands. Just a reality of how people tend to dress. But when you're in a room with folks who own multiple $100 million companies, I'll be frank with you. The suits are bespoke. There's no labels. The concept of having a label on your whoa, your Gucci suit? What kind of piece of shit are you? You know, like that. And frankly, like when you're at like charity events and people have the like the dresses, people still do the dresses. I do see that, but I'll give you went to a kind of a charity event. People there own a couple thousand acres, right? Prime farmland, just LL Bean. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, LL Bean with like a hint of like a pop of money on the shoes was what they were wearing, right? Like, was there $100,000 watch involved? There was. But that's a tiny economic signaling device on an overall carefully curated, I'm sure, because I'm sure they're not shopping for themselves, outfit of this is what real money wears, right? And all of this is kind of beyond my knowledge. People pull me aside and they're like, "Hey, so how'd that conversation go?" Great, those people are lovely. Okay, well they're like, not quite billionaires, but they're close. So, maybe next time don't just start cracking jokes and drinking. Like, why would I be different? They're not going to do anything for me. I mean, we're just at the end of the day we could talk or not talk, but like, what am I going to do, right? I digress. So, I approach her and I'm like, "Hey, you know what you don't want? Fashion advice from this guy." And she was like, "Yeah, I ordered you a suit and a tie." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, you're embarrassing me. Like you're doing great, but you look homeless. So I ordered you a suit and a tie." And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" So yeah, I called your firm, got your measurements. There's outfits coming for you because I can't have you embarrassing me. Okay, well I appreciate that, and I will definitely wear those. Thank you, but you gotta stop. You this can't go on like this. Like you're asking for money. We're here to tell people how you're harmed, how your career was damaged. I don't know that as part of that argument we should display the depths of your wealth when we're saying, please, jurors whose average income was probably about $60K, please give her the money, right? And you can about guess how that conversation went over. She's very sweet, very nice. She's like, oh, honey, no. You don't give me the fashion advice. That's not, no. I said, okay, but it's not fashion advice. It's like you can wear the same outfit. Just it's got to look like it doesn't cost so much, right? Like it's not about the fashion. It's about the price tags. And it became a bit of a thing. And I ended up, because she kept doing it, and this was like a 2-week trial, if I recall correctly. And around day 4 or day 5, I remember I actually drove to her house the morning before trial, and she, because I'm a weirdo, and she came out of her door, and she just kept, I got to tell you, she's probably wearing 30 grand at this point. I was like, can you, she comes out of her door, I'm like, can you please just go the fuck back inside and dress like a human being? Like, come on, what are we doing here? What are we doing? And we eventually reached an accord, a balance where she didn't go quite so hard. I think she dialed it back a little bit. She was a little less opulent, or at least less in your face, right? Like the giant Mikimoto pearls may have been put back in the safe, and like went with something a little less overstated, perhaps. And I say Mikimoto, I have no idea what the pro. Just saying names of like what I think a pro company would be. And the case eventually went well. It went well. She won money, one of the biggest wins of my career. And it was tough. It's awkward. I guess I share this story to share how crazy it is for me to have an opinion on what she was wearing, right? And your question goes a step further, because in a sexual harassment case, you actually aren't, I believe, in my opinion, the logic is changing. The considerations are changing. In a discrimination case and a retaliation case, the main consideration is you want to look hyper confident, hyper professional. You want to be this when people think of the meritocracy and the person who's gonna do the things and make it all happen, you want them to imagine your client, right? That's the goal in a discrimination case, and really also a retaliation case. Look at how they've been harmed. They're the pinnacle of the meritocracy. They do the things. When you're at work and you're hungover and you're having a bad day and you're not actually going to do any work, this person, my client, is the person who does everything, and the whole place keeps running, and like you get away with it because this person, she did it all, right? That's the image you're going for in a discrimination case. In a retaliation claim, you want them to look harmed. You don't want them to look wealthy, right? Sexual harassment cases are very different, and it's different because people don't. There's this weird, and this is my own guess. My understanding. But there's this weird thing where all men will view all women as, yeah, she's probably sexually harassed. Like, there's not really any level of attractiveness in a woman where she might tell a guy, yeah, this guy sexually harassed me, and that guy might be like, no way, she's not hot enough. But in his mind, that asshole is like, yeah, somebody did, 100%. Like, guys will deny sexual harassment and then in their mind be like, I could see it. Like, I've had those conversations. I could see it. Oh yeah, some guy definitely took a pass at her, and there's no necessary requirement in a male's eyes that a woman be attractive to be the victim of sexual harassment. Believe it or not. I really, this is borne out over my career, talking to juries after cases, talking to a couple of focus groups, like stuff like that. Like just also talking with defense counsel, talking with other plaintiffs' attorneys, you have these conversations, and there seems to be a consensus in the end, like, yeah, I can see it. Yeah, there's somebody. Yeah, always. There's, how they say there's somebody for everybody? There's somebody to sexually harass everybody when it comes to women. Like, there's always going to be a guy, right? So I wouldn't worry about the attractiveness. And I've shared this with publicists, and they don't fully agree. Public image people, stuff like that. They think I'm a bit of a fool. They would say, no, we should be a little bit more attractive. If we can maximize attractiveness to some extent, to some professional extent, we should. which I don't think is required for male jurors or male judges or male arbitrators. But they make the point that women will often be a bit skeptical of an unattractive woman who is the victim of sexual harassment. And I don't know if that's true. That seems really sad to me. But I don't see a reason to necessarily assume people are wrong, and I don't see a reason to... There's no countervailing force. There's no, well, she's too attractive. Could have been sexually harassed. And yeah, you venture into the Fox News talking point. I don't want to use the name of the attorney, the defense attorney who goes on Fox News and says this, but she always makes the argument, because she's an acquaintance, so I don't want to, She goes on the Fox News and is like, basically makes the argument, well, she's asking for it, right? And that's the perennial talking point of all the victim shamers and victim blamers and sexual harassment apologists. Well, what's she wearing? She's signaling. She wants it, right? Like, and that's, I don't think about that too much, but from the outside, I think that the public image consultants, the publicists, I think they thread the needle on those two, where they do want to make things appear attractive, but not too attractive for a sexual harassment case. And seems to work, is what I can tell you. Seems to work. Now you can all run and cancel me, because I've just spent the last 17 minutes basically saying I objectify women in order to extract larger verdicts on cases for them. And, yeah, guilty. Like, if it's going to get my client a bigger check, I'm going to think about it. The end. I don't care. Call me a bad guy. You're not my client. I don't care. The end. Anyways, Ann Ford, I hope this was a somewhat reasoned response to this question. I hope this had some value. Again, I'm not the expert. Talk to the experts. I don't curate appearance. I don't have that knowledge necessarily. Like, I wouldn't know how to do it, especially for a woman, but even for myself. This is why we have focus groups, right? Because, everybody comes in with an opinion and says, oh, you should look like this. You should wear X, Y, and Z, this and that. And then you focus group it, and people are like, no, I hate that person. I hate what that person's wearing. I hate that person's makeup. I hate that man's hair. Like all the... Why is his face so shiny? Like, fair. Why? What's wrong with his eyebrows? Yeah, that's I've received that comment. Why is his neck so red? Radiation. Thank you. It's radiation. I had somebody tell me I had gels once. Yeah, starter gels. Someday. Give it time. Gravity will get me. So anyways, Ann Ford, I hope this was helpful in some way. If it was, like, subscribe, comment down below. If it wasn't, if I'm an asshole, tell me down below as well. I will track the comments. I will try to respond. Remember, everybody works, not everybody wins. And, yeah, you can't leave anything on the table. To your point, Ann Ford, this question was awkward. Answering this was very uncomfortable. But you don't get to leave tools on the table. You bring it all. Bring it all. Like, this is functionally like a miniature war and should be conducted as such. people will get hurt. Like, there's going to be casualties. And you can't leave a tool at home that could help you protect your client or maximize her result.